Hey, what's going on guys? Crow-sama here, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Duel Blitz Gundam, high-grade cosmic era from the new Seed Freedom movie. That is, it cost me close to 3,000 yen, and that's about like 20 bucks right now over in USD, so it's not a bad price, but I'm pretty sure in the Western market, or pretty much like right outside Japan, y'all gonna be paying probably close to like $25 to like maybe $27 for this. Now, one of the highlights of these kits is that they're using the seed action system, which is basically like repurposing the articulation of old high grades from the seed era, and they're just like drastically improving them, and they're mostly universal between a lot of the kits in the new like HGCE line. And on this side, you can see it has all the armaments attached, and honestly, it looks amazing. With the grappling claw, you're gonna have the little cannon on the shoulder, you got the lance darts. I mean, this is looking phenomenal. And then you also gonna have the meteor unit that it is compatible with. And here it is in its unpainted state, both front and rear. Now, we are going to have a total of 10 runners, and then we're going to have one extra runner that's going to be for the clear stand, and then we're going to have the beam saber effect parts, we're going to have a little like wire for the grappling, and then the sticker set. Now, talking details, look, this is a really nice kit, but it doesn't really have that many panel lines in just the regular like dual like basic mode. So I don't know, I'm just kind of like looking at it, and it's a little bit more plain than I would have expected it. There are panel lines scattered here and there, but for the most part, it is going to be kind of a blank canvas in many ways. There are details like etched in certain locations, such as like right here on the legs. You're always going to have some parts underneath the feet, and I do love my thrusters. So, this is really nice to see that we got some thrusters. It's not all hollow like in a lot of old high grades, but yeah, for the most part, like especially like the knees and everything, like really just plain surfaces. So that's something that you're gonna have to debate with yourself if you want to do some scribing, or you're just gonna leave it plain. Personally, I'm just gonna leave it plain, even though I wish I had extra time in my life to go ahead and scribe a lot of details and panel lines in here and just put some plot plate all over. But honestly, I feel like this kit it's not the kit I want to dive a lot into because it's cool and all, but it's not a high priority. Now, for articulation, you are going to have like this extra head articulation inside here, so it can essentially like move forward a little bit like more than like previous high grades. So there is going to be a large range of movement, which is phenomenal, and honestly just amazing that the high grade C line is really doing a lot of extra work to make sure that these kits are getting extra articulation. Here at the shoulder, this is the magic right here. You see that? There's going to be just so many hinges right inside here, combined with a ball joint, and this is just beautiful. So you can pull it all the way out, and then from here you can actually just move it up and down, and then the ball joint can make it go even further. So yeah, there is just a lot of good range of movement here for the shoulders while it's in a dual mode. Now, for the shoulders, this little piece right here can move in and can go out, and then the shoulder itself can basically rotate quite a ways up. Elbow is going to have 2 points of articulation and can basically just go all the way up. The hands are going to be the weakest points because you really need to have them like all the way in. If you have it out like this, then it's going to be pretty much loose. So you honestly need to have it completely pushed in for it to be a firm fit. Now, speaking of hands, these are the only hands you're going to be getting. So the accessory holding hands, I really wish they went back to having trigger hands as well as the open expressive hands, because why not? Now, here for the beam saber parts, this can move essentially back and forth, but be careful with it. Don't move it by the beam saber because you might actually break this tiny little peg. So yeah, just be really careful when moving this. And something I do want to point out is inside these thrusters, there's going to be no orange, so you are going to have to paint these yourself. Now for the torso, it can have quite the range, so honestly just moving that far and then for side to side, it is going to be quite impressive. Side skirts can go up and down. Now here at the hips, this part right here can actually slide down, so that way you can get that much more range of movement for the hips. I mean, just look at that difference. And with this, it can basically just have a large range of movement, so front, back, forth, the whole 9 yards. Here at the knee, it's going to have 2 points of articulation and basically a really good range of movement. And lastly is going to be the foot and the ankle, so it can go front and back. And since it's going to be on a ball joint right here, it can essentially just go all the way around, back and forth, all that good stuff. Now for weapons, it is going to have the 2 beam sabers that it can freely use. You can get the beam saber effect parts, but that's pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead and transition to the assault shroud mode. Alright, so we're just going to go through the armor and just see what actually changes when you equip everything onto it. Now for the Assault Shroud mode, it is going to have these really nice shoulders. I think they look just completely badass. The way they have like this very triangular look to it and aesthetic with the orange right there in the front. I mean, this looks significantly better than the original Assault Shroud. Now for the backpack, you are going to have something pretty similar to the original Assault Shroud, where it is going to have this pointed in the back, but there's really not going to be anything in the lower part of the backpack, just this gray piece that attaches, and then this right here, and then these white pieces are going to be going over the beam sabers. And the chest is going to be pretty much heavily armored, going to have the like grayish blue, and then you're going to have the black, and then the orange right on top of that, but overall the color scheme looks phenomenal. And then for the front skirts, you're going to have this black piece right here, and then you're going to have the gray-blue little skirt pieces just pretty much dangling right in front. And then you're going to have the back skirt right here, which is just going to be one solid piece that tacks right on. Now for the legs, you are going to have just 2 colors. You're going to have the orange and then the gray-blue, but it still looks really great. The only problem is it's missing, like, I wish they had more armor that just pretty much surrounded the entirety of the leg instead of just the side and the front, because right here in the back and on the inside it's just not really covered at all. So I don't know, it looks a little bit too incomplete, but overall I mean I think it looks great. I love just the orange. The orange overall has been looking really good on this kit, so that's something I'm probably just going to keep, is that original like yellow orange color scheme. And I think this blue-gray, I might change the tone a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think overall it still looks great on this kit. You're just going to have to fill in a lot of this with black, or whatever color choice you want. So inside here, it's a little bit too blue, and here there's actually absolutely no color, so definitely fill that in. Now for weaponry, we are going to talk about the high energy beam cannon that's right here mounted onto the shoulder, and you can just flip that right out. Now this can actually just come right off the shoulder, and then you're going to just flip this handle right here, and then that can go right into the hand. But honestly, I don't think it looks that great. It's fine, but yeah, I think it's better off just being on the shoulder. Now for the other shoulder, you can go ahead and pull this part out, and you're going to reveal the 2 missile pods right inside there, but you are going to have to paint those orange as the original color. Next thing, you can lift this little part up, and then you can actually flip out the beam saber that's hidden right inside. And the next weapon is going to be the grenade launcher and beam rifle. It's fine. I think it's okay as a weapon, but Honestly, I wish there was a little bit more color to it, but hey, that's where paint comes in. And then also, I wish it actually had a trigger hand, but you know, it is what it is. I will settle with this hand. Next is going to be a little bit more armor onto the arm, and you are going to have the lance darts that are going to be mounted much like the Blitz. And of course, you can go ahead and just pull them straight out and have them hold it. But honestly, I don't think it looks that great, and it, you know, you kind of really need to work it in order to have it stay in. And lastly is going to be the Piercer, which is basically just the grappling hook. It's amazing, I love it, and the fact that it's incorporated onto the Duel, I love it, man. It's definitely one of my favorite weapons on the Blitz. So just combining this onto the Duel, which I think really could have used a little bit extra weaponry than what it already had. I think it just makes it look so much more amazing. But yeah, it has the thrusters right here on the back, and it actually is going to come with a wire and then a clear stand. And here it is with the wire attached, and it looks amazing. Honestly, this is just one of my favorite features of this kit, is that it does have the wire and just like a really good functioning grappling claw, and it has the clear stand. So honestly, you know, I'm pretty stoked about this, because when I paint this is probably going to be my go-to pose. Now let's talk about the articulation while it is in the assault shroud mode. Yeah, this right here, these shoulders are going to be basically restricting the movement quite a bit. It's gonna have that like extra little, you know, reach right here with the shoulder joint, but man, not really by much. So yeah, this mode right here is really going to be limiting the shoulders and arms. Now with the extra weaponry right here onto the forearm, yeah, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to just get like crazier range movements, but I mean, it's still doable. But obviously if it's holding the rifle or doing anything with this right here, or even these little darts in the back, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. The front skirts really don't matter too much. Honestly, you're really not going to be doing any crazy poses, so yeah, the front skirts and the back skirt doesn't really impede it too much. And even the leg armor, it may restrict it just a little bit for the toe, but that's pretty much it. Overall, it's still going to be looking really good and should be functioning quite well. Now for my final thoughts. Honestly, this kit is just a blast to play with. And I know, it's a model kit, it's not an action figure. However, I still have fun playing with it, and I take the advantage to play with it now because it's straight out of the box. But obviously, once I paint it all up and do all my little things to it, I can't really play with it. So I'm taking advantage of it right now and having a good time, and especially getting some ideas of how I want to customize it, paints, and just pose whenever I finally get to that point. So the only downsides I'm seeing is just that for people that enjoy straight builds and, you know, just out of the box, you're going to have to do some painting to it. Unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. This is a model kit, so sometimes you do need to bust out those paints to really bring out the best of these kits. However, I think the pros just really overshadow any of the cons. This is still going to be a fantastic kit, just out of the box with maybe some panel lining, and that's kind of it. Maybe slap some decals on there, but for the most part, this is going to be looking amazing, especially if you have a Seed Freedom shelf as it is. If you don't, then hey, this is still going to be a cool standalone kit to just put on the shelf, and it should still have some shelf presence whenever you have it deploying the little grappling hook on its arm. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. I'm so happy to be back. It's just been a blast. So yeah, definitely going to be pushing out some more content, and especially with some newer kits that are going to be coming out in the more recent months that are upcoming. But that's it for me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next review. Bye-bye.